Hey Internet, Eric here. I'm going to introduce a new concept to my channel tonight, and it's going to be called Have You Ever Seen? And this is going to be kind of like my movie thoughts category where I just discuss films in general, but I'm going to spotlight a film where I feel like no one has ever seen it, or the audience for it is significantly low. Um, because I never have it discussed in my circle of friends. I never see it talked about on message boards. I never see it on Facebook groups, any of that stuff. Maybe only a handful of people that I personally know have seen it. And maybe, if the three people that watch this channel on a regular basis like or are at least interested in what I have to say about this film, they might go and see it and maybe tell their friends and then tell their friends and so on and so on and so on. Lame joke. Maybe this film will get an audience. And tonight, Internet, I'm going to ask, have you ever seen Freaked? Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Yes, that is Mr. T as the bearded lady. I do discuss plot spoilers, specific scenes when I discuss these films, but that's just how I talk when I talk movies. Okay, Freaked. Wow. This came out in '93. It's written and directed by Tom Stern, who I don't know, and Alex Winter. And if that name sounds familiar, Alex Winter was Bill from the Bill and Ted films, and he was also one of the vampires from the Lost Boys. Okay, Alex Winter plays Ricky Coogin. Ricky Coogin is like a former child star, very cocky, arrogant, asshole-ish. You want to reach through your TV screen and just like choke him and punch him type of character. And he's hired by William Sadler. And William Sadler, if you don't know who he is, he was also in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey with Alex Winter. He played the Grim Reaper. And he's also in a bunch of like Frank Darabont, Stephen King films. And he's the CEO of E.E.S, which is everything except shoes. Yeah. And he hires Ricky to be like a spokesperson for this toxic fertilizer called Zygrot 24. Yep. Sends Ricky to some South American country to promote it. And Ricky takes with him his buddy, played by Michael Stoyanov. And if you don't know who Michael Stoyanov is, that's no surprise. His biggest claim to fame, I think, is he played the brother that's not Joey Lawrence on TV's Blossom. So there's a 90s reference for you. They land in South America. They meet some chick, some social justice warrior type character, save the trees, men are pigs type character. They end up going to Freakland, spelled F-R-E-E-K. There are a lot of misspellings in this movie. It's an ongoing joke. And they meet up with Randy Quaid, who plays Elijah C. Skuggs, the owner of Freak World, or Freakland. It's one of the two. And eventually he takes them hostage, and with the use of Zygrot 24, turns them into his own mutated freaks so he can use for his sideshow. The rest of the film is those three and the rest of Elijah's freaks coming together to escape and become human again. Wow. Okay, I remember when I first saw this movie. I was still at home, living at home. Our house would get real warm, and to cool off, I would sleep in the living room. I used to lay on the floor with the TV on. That would help me fall asleep. And I remember one day I woke up and I saw like the last 20 minutes of this movie, and I didn't know what the hell was going on. So it was back at the time when HBO used to have the same schedule weekly. I found out this was called Freaked. I watched it from the beginning and I watched it to the end, and I absolutely fell in love with this film. It's so bizarre, it's so goofy, over the top, self-referential, breaking the fourth wall. It's like a live-action Mad Magazine, dude. Some Naked Gun stuff thrown in there. A lot of the jokes are very visual. Like with Naked Gun, you gotta watch the background. One of my favorite scenes favorite jokes that I just noticed with this last viewing, and I've seen this probably at least half a dozen times, was when Alex Winter and Michael Stoyanov are on the plane getting ready to go to South America, and you see the stewardess in the background taking people's luggage, and, you know, put it in the overhead compartment. And she takes somebody's luggage, and it actually is like a bomb, like the stereotypical dynamite with the clock on it. She puts it in the overhead compartment, which is fantastic. And, you know, you won't see that in like 2017. So there's a lot of those type of jokes. But let's talk about Alex Winter as Ricky Coogin. He is the perfect smug asshole in this. You know, he's even got the smug laugh whenever he gets what he wants to with the, you know, the teeth out to here and type of thing. You hate him from the first time you meet him. You don't feel sympathetic with him when he turns into a mutant until the end, and it's just so over the top and goofy and fun. Michael Stoyanov as his buddy, nothing special, but he's funny when he's mixed with Megan Ward, who plays the social justice warrior type character, and when they get mutated by Elijah, they become this two-headed mutant, you know, one on this side, one on this side, and they share, you know, the one body. So they have a great chemistry of hating each other, and that makes it fun. Randy Quaid as Elijah C. Skuggs, hammy, not too over the top, very spooky and disgusting, but he's so bizarre that you can't take your eyes off him when he's on screen. And he's just got like a funny presence about him. He's not annoying like he is in Independence Day, or he's not like as totally retarded and disgusting as he is as Cousin Eddie in the Vacation movies. It's a one-of-a-kind performance here, and I love him. He's probably one of my favorite characters in this film. I mean, one of my favorite bits, put it this way, it's so deadpan. Ricky's already been mutated, and Elijah's dragging Ricky to like this outhouse, and he opens the outhouse, and it's literally like this skinny, like, hillbilly outhouse, you know, with like the moon on the door and stuff like that, room for just one person. He opens it up, and you see inside is like the size of a fucking barn. And Ricky says, "Wow, you did a lot of, you know, great work, you know, with, you know, space here." He says, "That's because," and Elijah says, "That's because I read Bob Vila's books." And an actor playing Bob Vila, because again, this is just so random and Mad Magazine and Naked Gun-esque. Bob Vila walks by and says, "Oh, that's great, Elijah. And if you want to know how to do bedrooms and bathrooms, read my book, Bedrooms and Bathrooms." And Elijah just, you know, shrugs it off like it's nothing, takes a hammer, hits Bob Vila over the head, throws the hammer, and Bob Vila's dead, and he goes about his business. Very hammy, very serious, but fun, laughable performance by Randy Quaid. This is probably one of my favorite Randy Quaid performances. Let's get to the freaks. I got this on Blu-ray from my buddy Roger over at Channel Dawnstar, and it's kind of bare bones. And I knew that there was a 2-disc DVD that was out of print. It's hard to find with all these bonus features. I finally found it, and it's beautiful. And it's a slipcover. I really hate slipcovers, but the reason why I'm keeping this is because it's one of those see-through slipcovers where you get to see all the freaks. And let's discuss them real quick. You got the worm, who's a living worm. Rosie the Pinhead. There's Ricky when he's mutated. The cowboy. Nosy the Nose Man, who's like a human nose, literally. I think this guy's called the Eternal Flame. He's got flames shooting out of his ass throughout the whole movie. Ortiz the Dog Boy. Wonderfully played by Keanu Reeves. So it's a Bill and Ted reunion, but with William Sadler. It's a Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey reunion. What's his name? Sockhead. Voiced by Bobcat Goldthwait. He's just a human with a sock puppet head. Stewie Glick or Gluck, one of the two. I will get into Stewie. Let's see here. Anything else? We'll talk about the frog. Well, I won't talk about him, but that's the Frog Man. He's literally just a Frenchman in a scuba suit. But there's lots of cool freaks. The makeup effect you can see here is done wonderfully on Ricky when he turns into the mutant freak. I mean, the human worm, whatever he's called. Cowboy. The special effects are fantastic. The makeup effects. Here's Toad. He is basically Elijah's bodyguard. He's got, as you can see, he's got this huge ass fucking tongue. He uses it to eat many things, which include like airplanes. And he has one line in the entire film when it's one of the best moments of the movie. And like I said, Mr. T is the bearded lady. Yeah, a lot of these freaks are like, they're so random, and you're either gonna love them or you hate them. I go about 50-50. I love Nosy, the Nose Man. He's a big asshole, and I think he's funny. Bobcat Goldthwait as I keep forgetting. I want to call him Socko, but he's Sockhead. He's funny as hell. He's just doing his Bobcat Goldthwait shtick. Cowboy is funny. I mean, there's some throwaway characters. No one gives a shit about Rosie the Pinhead or the Worm. The Worm looks good. He's the smart one, but he's nothing special. We're going to talk about Stewie Gluck, or Glick. I'm just going to call him Stewie. Look at that. Ugh. Now, Stewie is Ricky's #1 fan. You know, from back in the day, he grew up watching all of Ricky's TV shows. And it's this ongoing thing where he's trying to... First time we meet him, he's stowed away in the overhead compartment of the airplane, trying to get Ricky's autograph, and he eventually gets sucked out the door while in flight, which is one of the best sequences of the movie. And he finds out what happens to Ricky because, for some reason, since there's such a good bond with each other, you know, even though Ricky hates him and Stewie loves him, you know, Ricky hates Stewie, Stewie loves Ricky type of thing. They have this some kind of psychic bond with each other. So Stewie finds out what happens, and he tries to sell the story to all the newspapers, which fail. He gets thrown through all the glass window doors, except for, of course, the Weekly World News, you know, because they're known for like Bat Boy and stuff like that. So I love the relationship between Stewie and Ricky. Ricky hates Stewie, wants death upon Stewie because he's just so fucking annoying. And Stewie can't take a hint and just loves Ricky unconditionally. Which leads to a final fight between the two in their super mutated forms, which I won't get into because I don't want to spoil it. Wow. So, yeah, all the freaks are fantastic. Like I said, I love William Sadler as the head of E.E.S. One of my favorite bits, and like I said, a lot of it is visual, is like when he's trying to make a decision with the company and he needs a majority rules. The only other members of the company are old decrepit men in like their 80s or something, and they can't think for themselves. They're so old they don't do nothing. So he's got it where his henchmen have like ropes tied to their hands. So when he says, "Everyone in favor, raise your hand," someone pulls a lever, and the old men, the strings pull their arms up so they can go like this, and then it's total Weekend at Bernie's, and I fucking love it. My favorite freak though is, where's he at? Ortiz the dog boy. There you go. You can't see. You can see it now for the glare. Ortiz the dog boy, wonderfully played by Keanu Reeves. It's probably Keanu's best performance I've ever seen. Wonderful Spanish accent. He's fantastic. He seems like he's the leader of the freaks. And I love how he introduces Ricky to all the other freaks through Hollywood Squares. He always scratching himself. You see the foot go up and scratch his ears, and then it goes down, type of that. And so over the top, but you could tell Keanu Reeves is having a fucking blast doing this movie. He's having so much fun. I love how when they're trying to escape, he and Ricky get into a disagreement. And of course, since Ortiz is Spanish, he pulls out a switchblade, and then that means Ricky has to fight him with his fingernail. And it's a good standoff, slicing and dicing type of scene, which gets stopped by another visual effect or visual gag, which I won't get into. So much fun. Soundtrack is interesting. We got Henry Rollins and Butthole Surfers, and more 90s references that people don't know anymore. The opening credits is to a Henry Rollins song, and it's an animation sequence, kind of like the Peter Gabriel song or music video for Sledgehammer, and it's going through like showing like Alex Winter. So you have this weird claymation mold of Alex Winter turning into his freak, and then it shows like it says Randy Quaid, and it shows, you know, the morphing of Randy Quaid's face and Mr. T, the bearded lady, and stuff like that. So wonderful animation. And there's another animation sequence that is great when Elijah takes the Zygrot 24 and he mixes it on Michael Stoyanov and the chick, and they morph together into this big ball of clay, and it goes into various different creatures and stuff like that. So bizarre and out there and wonderfully done. It's done by the Kyoto brothers. If you've ever heard of them, they're behind the Critters movies and Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Great special effects. The budget definitely went into special effects and makeup, because they're fun and cool and top notch. I love them. So there's that scene. There's some really cool scenes where, to get from the outhouse barn where they're all, you know, they all live, and they need to get into Elijah's house, which is funny because, you know, it's a cool visual gag. You know, Freakland looks disgusting and grimy, but when you get into Elijah's house, it's all like Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous type looking, very rustic and homely, and not homely, but rustic and relaxing, and just total opposite of what you would expect from Elijah, and it's great. But they have to dig underground with the help of the worm, of course, to get into Elijah's house. And it's a wonderful kind of like a split screen. You know, up top you have the outside of, you know, the outhouse, and it shows in Elijah's house. But then underneath you see them digging through. And it's wonderfully done. The special effects are great. And I love how when something bad happens and they have to run back through and the tunnel is caving in, you see like Alex Winter running as the tunnel is caving in behind him. Looks fantastic and great. I mentioned, you know, the soundtrack. One of my favorite sequences, I keep saying one of my favorites, because I'm just going on a roll here, is the montage. I love this fucking montage. They realize what they have to do so they can become human again. So all the freaks are working together to this wonderfully cheesy 90s sounding montage song that is abruptly cut short because Elijah gets involved. I won't say what happens, but it's one of the best gags in the film, and I love it. And then it's so much fun. There's some cameos. Brooke Shields is in it. Brooke Shields starts as the movie starts out. She is interviewing Ricky on this whole ordeal, and there's a Blue Lagoon reference that is thrown in there that is actually quite funny. Morgan Fairchild shows up as one of the flight attendants for absolutely no reason. All she does is she sees Stewie and screams. So much fun, so bizarre, freaked, literally is, but ugly, but funny. I can't tell you, like I said, I probably watched this half a dozen times, and I laugh every single time I see it. Like I said, this last time I watched it, I noticed a lot of the visual gags that I'd never noticed before, and I'm still laughing my ass off. So I cannot highly recommend Freaked any more than I already have. As you can see, I got it on two forms of media. I had the VHS somewhere. I can't fucking find it, and it's actually depressing me, you know, upsetting me, because it was one of my favorite VHSs that I owned. But yeah, Freaked. Alex Winter. Like I said, look at this. Alex Winter, Randy Quaid. There's William Sadler, Bobcat Goldthwait, Brooke Shields. Keanu Reeves doesn't get credited in this movie. I don't know why, because he's fucking hilarious in it. Freak, 1993. Hopefully, you got enough info from me babbling that you're like, that sounds interesting. I want to check it out. So, there you go. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you've seen, please check out my other playlists. I'm not going to go into it. They all explain themselves what they are. Like, subscribe. Don't click the bell so you know when I upload a new video. However that works, I don't really care. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. check out Freaked. I really hope you do. Comment below if you've ever seen this film. Cheers, and die, troll!